As of late, Skyrim has been getting some updates. Over the past year, with the release of Anniversary Edition and follow-up bug fixes for that version of the game, Skyrim is getting more updates than it has in a very long time. And although fixing bugs, adding in new content, some of which was completely free, is definitely a good thing, this has also become a regular and persistent issue for mods, as mods have consistently needed to be updated along the way for PC users, and there's even been some issues for console users throughout all of this. And I think the most recent couple of updates for Skyrim that came after a nearly 8-month hiatus has really highlighted why this is a larger problem. We have another case of broken load orders, mods needing updates, but even more importantly, some modders not even wanting to update to the new version, because who knows, maybe there'll just be another update in a month or so and they'll have to deal with this all over again. So in this video I want to talk about Skyrim's update problem and how a 10-year-old game getting updates is causing such a headache for its fanbase. But before that, I need to tell you about today's video sponsor, Empires and Puzzles. Empires and Puzzles quite literally feels like the perfect genre of game for mobile. It's going to feature some of those familiar RPG and base building mechanics. You're going to build up your empire, develop all kinds of structures for your kingdom, and more importantly, collect over 400 different types of heroes with all kinds of different classes. But from there, you'll be able to develop these heroes and take them into battle, which is all going to be based around puzzles. It features a very familiar match 3 puzzle mechanic, and this is incredibly satisfying to use. Rather than trying to micromanage complex combat mechanics on your phone, you're dealing with puzzles that feel absolutely perfect for the platform, still being easy to use, but at the same time having depth to them as you attempt to get crazy combos. It is a really unique and satisfying concept overall, but still a game with a ton of depth. Each of the heroes you unlock have their own identities and special abilities that will help make fights easier, and triggering your hero's ability at a strategic time can be a complete game changer, especially during hard boss fights. And you will seriously grow attached to these heroes as you continue to upgrade them and make them more powerful. And there's quite a few fights out there, whether it be boss fights, the PvP arena, or even a ton of new things on the horizon. This is a game that is constantly getting new content. There's weekly events, raid bosses, and even an upcoming Halloween event until November 13th. So don't wait, you can download Empires and Puzzles today completely for free using my link in the video description. Today, or really yesterday, I sat down to make a video on Skyrim, but actually not this one. I want to highlight some of the incredibly awesome new mods that are coming to Skyrim as of late. Despite updates being a problem, the modding scene is doing some insane things to the game over the past year or so. But then I immediately remembered, oh right, Skyrim just got a new update a couple of weeks ago, so most of my mods in my load order were outdated. I'll have to fix that and update them, which was a massive mistake. I definitely shouldn't have started updating these because I quickly realized, oh, only some of the mods in my load order have been updated. So now I basically have a load order where half of the mods do work on the latest version, the other half don't work on the latest version. And this is starting to become a larger issue, with some mod authors just not wanting to update to the latest version of the game. In a video I released not too long ago, I talked about what I thought was the definitive combat overhaul for Skyrim, and my new personal favorite combat overhaul. But with the recent update, the mod author announced, for now, I'm not adding compatibility for newer EXE versions due to the effort it takes and Bethesda's unpredictability. It takes hours, if not days, to ensure compatibility, which can be easily ruined by another update that adds nothing on Bethesda's whim. I want nothing but all users to be able to enjoy this mod, so I guess an update will come eventually, but don't expect it in a couple of months. Which, if you ask me, this is a completely understandable stance. Just one day, out of the blue, Bethesda decided that their 10-year-old game needs an update, and it creates a ton of additional work for mod authors to make their mods work again. It's not like these are paid positions or people working at a company. These are people that have real day jobs and are doing this out of their free time. A mod could almost not be done now because you have to deal with Skyrim getting updates and you'll have to fix your mod over time. Not to mention that there's no heads up when these updates are actually shipping. And even in this case, let's say this mod author does put in all of the time and effort to get their mod working on the latest version, then what if another update comes in a month or so? Then you're just back to square one. And these updates on a very old game have created a situation where there's a ton of content that's only available on the pre-Skyrim Anniversary Edition build of the game. Separately, some other mod authors have released new mods or updated their mods to work on Anniversary Edition and that old Special Edition build. But then if you do that, you almost now have this onus on you to keep fixing the mods because Bethesda keeps updating the game and breaking them. So now some mods work on some versions of Anniversary Edition, but not all of them. And users are also all over the place in all of this, with some on older versions of the game and some others trying to stay on the latest version, but with each subsequent update, you may lose a few mods in the process. And to be abundantly clear here, I am in no way trying to blame the mod authors. I don't think this is their fault at all, and I totally get not wanting to update. I probably wouldn't want to update if I had a bunch of mods. And I think the worst part about all of this, the Skyrim update situation, is the unknown of it. The most recent update to the game just came out of nowhere. I mean, you would have thought that Skyrim was done getting updates, with the last update before this being in January, but then no, yeah, all of a sudden it got another one. So now on paper, this hypothetically could be Skyrim's final update, but I kind of doubt Bethesda's going to come out and say that. If they did, I'm sure a bunch of people would update to this version. And there's even been rumors as of late of the possibility of Creation Club making a return. These rumors now are totally unsubstantiated. There's no real proof going into this. But the most recent Skyrim update did release with this new installed content menu, which does feel random and odd if this is the end. Why are they adding in this installed content menu after all of these years if there isn't going to be more content? And we've even just seen Skyrim come out on both GOG and the Epic Game Store as of this past week. So is Skyrim going to get more updates? I don't really know, but probably it'll probably just be another update out of the blue. It might be 6 months away, it might be a year away, or it could be next month. Who knows? And for some mod authors out there, that means that, okay, now you have hours of additional work to make your mod work on that version of the game. But now, of course, a lot of you are just sitting here like, okay, but this isn't a problem for me. You could largely avoid all of this by just not updating Skyrim. Sticking to an older version where all of your mods are working, disabling auto update, which works at least the vast majority of the time. And most of these problems don't apply to console users. Although yes, there's been some issues with console mods with some of these updates that had to later be fixed. Most of the time, console mods are completely untouched. This is really just going to be for script extender based mods on PC. It just so happens that those are some of the absolutely best mods for Skyrim and where things are really getting pushed forward. So if you don't update your game, not really a problem. Unfortunately, at the same time, I feel like there always will be a huge subset of players that will want to update their game. It's not like this is a particularly niche mindset. You see a lot of people that do this, and in turn, a lot of people that want those mod authors to keep their mods up to date, or will wait for those mods to be up to date. Or even alternatively, let's say you want to play the awesome Skyrim multiplayer mod. If you want to play that, you have to be on the latest version of the game due to how that mod works. And if in the future Bethesda actually starts adding in content with these updates, then it'll become an even larger issue. And overall, I think that's really what drove me to make this video. Although it really is just rumors and speculation, I do genuinely see a future where Creation Club or some version of that comes back. I mean, right now, Skyrim has a ridiculous amount of players that Bethesda probably knows they could be monetizing. And further waves of updates could be disastrous in the modding community, but I feel like it doesn't have to be as bad as it is right now. Skyrim is a game that is as popular as it is thanks to modding. It's a good game on its own, but is a phenomenal game with the right mods. Now, depending on who you are as a person and Skyrim player, the right mods will vary greatly, but thankfully we have a ton of options out there. And to me, it's not really that crazy to imagine a world where Bethesda is a bit more accommodating to the modding scene when it comes to the Skyrim updates. Like even just something as simple as a small heads up like, hey, the game's going to be getting an update next week or next month for the first time in 8 months, so maybe make sure your game isn't going to update or prepare. Because I think right now the situation's a bit unpleasant. You literally just wake up one day and it's like, oh yeah, my Skyrim updated, my load order is largely broken. Do I try and downgrade, which I think many people go for, or do I try and upgrade and have to wait several days for mods to update it, even wait several weeks for mods to update? As I mentioned earlier, I think the surprise of it all creates this very unpleasant situation. But at the same time, I would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. What do you feel about this? What do you think is a potential solution here? I think it is very easy for me to look at the situation and recognize there is a problem, but a fix for it is going to be far more complicated. And for lots of people, this may just not affect you at all. Again, I think the easiest solution is downgrading or sticking to an older version of the game. Or alternatively, you play on consoles, and this really isn't a problem for you at all. But for one reason or another, at the same time, I don't think this is a problem that's going to be going away. I just have this hunch that Skyrim is going to continue to get updates. I don't think this was the last one. And what that means is there's going to be a time in the future where Skyrim will randomly update, all of your mods will break, and perhaps even some further mods will take a while or never get updated to the next version, creating an even larger gap in this version disparity. Either way, those are my thoughts on the current Skyrim update situation and why I think this isn't going away anytime soon. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below though. With that said, as always, again, I thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.